Top 15 Most Powerful Megazords. Backstories explored. The Power Rangers series has been going on for over 20 years, and we've already seen maybe hundreds and thousands of Zords. Where the outfits and villains are all majorly essential components of Power Rangers legend, the Zords remain one of the franchise's main attractions. Of course, this includes the very formidable Megazords, but which one of them is the best? We at Marvelous Videos have some theories on the matter. Therefore, we decided to rate the top 15 Power Rangers Megazords of all time. Whether they are mentioned because of their outstanding weapons and combat prowess, or simply because they look fantastic, all of the Zords on this list are more than worthy of their inclusion. The series is a little vague with its own canon, and gives few clear comparisons on ways to evaluate the capabilities of the various Zords. So in order to build this list, we focused on a multitude of elements such as lifespan, adaptability, and the overall appearance of the Zords. It's far from a flawless system, but it gives us something to base our decision on, other than the rule of cool. Here are the 15 most powerful Zords in Power Rangers without further ado. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin.
Ultrazord, power up!
Zeo Ultrazord Warrior Mode, Power Ranger Zeo. There's a lot to appreciate in Power Ranger Zeo, especially in its incredible Megazord. The Zeo Crystal transforms Tanya, Kat, Billy, Rocky, Adam, and Tommy back into their adolescent selves. The command center is no longer there, but the crystal takes all of them to the brand new power chamber, where everybody saves Billy and gets new Zeo abilities. The many different Megazords win the majority of the confrontations in Power Rangers, but drastic times necessitate many drastic measures, and nothing shouts drastic times like the insanely powerful Super Zeo Ultrazord. The Super Zeo Ultrazord is among the most formidable Zords of the Zordon era, formed from a fusion of all the Super Zeo Zords along with a mighty Pyramidas. Indeed, we do believe this is the most deadly Zord of the Zordon era. For starters, this Megazord is gigantic, looming over many of the Machine's Empire's servants and capable of unleashing destructive energy blasts that can potentially knock out a squadron of the Machine Empire's warriors. We assume that if the Super Zeo Ultrazord had been accessible even during the United Alliance of Evil's invasion of Earth, Skull and Bulk's bravery would not have been required. Zeo's Goliath was extremely strong and wielded the Zeo Megazord Saber. It could launch a deadly energy blast, but upon closer investigation, the Zeo Megazord revealed itself to be far more adaptable. Depending on the combat helmet the Zeo Megazord wore during battle, it would obtain distinct powers. The standard helmet was Zeo V, which let users employ the Saber. Shifting to Zeo 1 enabled the use of a huge energy cannon capable of producing cyclones. Zeo 2 equipped the Zeo Megazord with twin laser guns, while Zeo 3 granted the Zord machine telekinetic powers and a blue laser. Finally, Zeo 4 came with a battering ram, gravitational fields, along with green lightning bolts. Not too shabby, is it? Centaurus Phoenix Megazord, Power Ranger Mystic Force. Korag is the owner of Quantasaurus, a robust and supernatural horse, and Zord. Many have attempted fruitlessly to tame the fiercest of all creatures, but Quantasaurus is tougher than 100 men and exceedingly swift, and no one has been able to control his terrifying strength. During the great struggle between good and evil, Quantasaurus retreated into the forest, but even before the door was shut, evil clawed up and took Quantasaurus below to the pit's lowest depths. Korag eventually tamed the beast, and Quantasaurus has been faithful to the Nightwolf ever since. Korag expands and joins with Quantasaurus to produce the lower torso and legs of the Centaur Megazord, as well as the legs, back, arms, and head of the Centaurus Wolf Megazord and the Megazord Lance. Although Quantasaurus and Mystic Phoenix take on new shapes, Centaurus Phoenix's sternum, head, limbs, lance, and back remain unchanged. However, Nick was once able to assist Quantasaurus, and as a result of his assistance, the horse merged with the Mystic Phoenix to become the Centaurus Phoenix Megazord. The Centaurus Phoenix Megazord of Mystic Force is arguably the most formidable Zord among them all, despite the fact that it wasn't utilized very much. At least, that's how it was advertised. The Megazord is the spawn of the Quantasaurus and Mystic Phoenix, and its primary weapon is a fire staff. Granted, it doesn't absolutely require it, as the Zord is far more powerful than just the Titan Megazord. It can also employ its ponytail as weaponry, which lights up and can be flung around at foes, which is a first in the show. When all those fails, it wields its staff to tremendous effect, and could even trigger an ability that offers Centaurus more power. It's only featured twice on the program, but then who knows, maybe it'll make a comeback later on. Delta Base Megazord, Megazord in Power Rangers S.P.D. Space Patrol Delta Base Headquarters is a command center for Earth's S.P.D. Academy, and all of the Power Rangers that are located in this division. It is often referred to as Delta Base Headquarters and S.P.D. Delta Base, or just Delta Base. It is also designed to imprison extraterrestrial suspects who would attack or invade Earth of their own will, or for the Trubian Empire. It is already proven to be capable of enduring enormous damage and launching an electrical blast. The base begins phase 1 of its Delta Base Defense System, or DBDS, by folding over its top half and transforming itself into the roaming Delta Command Crawler. It serves as Anubis Kruger's own Zord, as well as a carrier Zord transporting and deploying the SWAT flyers, Omega Max Cycle, and Delta Runners. It is also in the initial stage in the development of the Delta Command Megazord. Size and raw might aren't everything in a fight, but they sure don't hurt, as the truly stunning Delta Base Megazord demonstrates. The Delta Base Megazord, the height of a tower, looms over the Delta Squad Megazord. Considering that the Delta Base would be firstly and foremostly a stronghold, it has a severe lack of melee weaponry, but it more than compensates with its devastating firepower. Out of its knees and its fingertips, the Delta Base Megazord unleashes intense laser beams. Sure, it's a little bizarre, but it's also really pretty phenomenal. Its final move entails, we all could have guessed, extra lasers, namely a massive surge of energy being released from its chest. The explosion is more than adequate for annihilating the majority of enemies. The Delta Base can morph into the Delta Command Crawler in addition to the usual Megazord structure, a massive mobile castle outfitted with twin laser guns. We have a feeling that whoever designed this Zord is a big fan of lasers. Dragonzord, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The Dragonzord is the one Zord that is linked to the green Mighty Morphin Power Rangers power coin. Due to its unique build and controls among the Dinozords, it was commanded at various stages by Jason Lee Scott, the Red Ranger, Tommy Oliver, who is the Mighty Morphin Green Ranger, Tommy's replica Tom Oliver, and other villains. Dragonzord was armed with a variety of lethal offensive weapons. It had a drill on the very tip of its tail that it could whip around and attack opponents with. Because it slept beneath Angel Grove Bay while not in use, it was more suited for underwater warfare than the Dino Megazord. Jason would remotely control the Dragon Dagger while also operating the Megazord from its own cockpit when in possession of it. Dragonzord had been dormant in the water off the shore of Angel Grove for an indefinite amount of time. Rita Repulsa handed the Dragon Dagger to her Wicked Green Ranger, enabling him the ability to command and operate the Dragonzord. When her influence was shattered and Tommy became a Power Ranger on the side of justice, he kept the dagger and the Dragonzord under his control. They say you only have one opportunity to make a great first impression, and the Dragonzord is impressive when it emerges from the water like Godzilla, ready to crush the Power Rangers when it does. Tommy Oliver utilized the Dragonzord to deadly effect during the Green with Evil arc, even destroying the formidable Megazord, although we would see numerous Megazords fail as the show progressed. This was a startling scene the very first moment we saw it. In general, the Zords and the Power Rangers become more deadly as the series develops. However, the Dragonzord is possibly more formidable than the subsequent Tigerzord. The Titan Megazord, Power Rangers Mystic Force. The Titan Megazord is the Mystic Rangers Megazord mode. The Titan Megazord's Warrior mode was revealed in the chapter Rock Solid, when Madison was freed from a spell cast by a creature with Medusa-like abilities. While the Mystic Minotaur formed the main body and the Mermaid would split up into two parts, becoming the Megazord's feet and legs. The Garuda became the rear's wings, and the Sprite and Phoenix would form the chest, also with the Sprite linking in between the arms of the Phoenix. Furthermore, the Titan Saber, which is made up of different weapons and pieces of the Mystic Titans, could perform a variety of assaults. Its helmet resembles a wizard or witch hat, with the Mystic Minotaur's horns creating the cone-shaped section. The Rangers pilot the Titan Megazord from inside a cockpit resembling a checkerboard, with their chairs like chess pawns. The Titan Megazord can soar at tremendous speeds because of the mystic Garuda's wings, and it can also protect itself with the wings on its back. The Titan Megazord's primary weapon is the Titan Saber, a sword fashioned from the axe of the mystic Minotaur, the mystic mermaid's trident, along with a black mounted panel that breaks away from the mermaid structure when the mermaid emerges, and the mystic phoenix's sword. The Titan's Megazord finisher is identical to the Lightspeed Megazord's saber finale, in that the Megazord spins the Titan Saber in a circle, producing a seal with all 5 Rangers' insignias enclosed inside. The Megazord can then generally kill all of its opponents with a single slash. The squad can also use mystic energy to cloak the Titan Saber before slashing the opponent. This is a long onslaught. The Megazord also can conjure and fire a swarm of Titan Sabers at their adversary. Quantasaurus Rex, Power Rangers Time Force. The Quantasaurus Rex is indeed the Quantum Rangers' hallmark Zord. The Q-Rex, originally a Time Force Zord prototype, is one of the very few artifacts deployed for time travel experimentation before it was lost in history during one of these experiments. In the Jurassic time, it was finally found by Wes, who is the Time Force Red Ranger, and the Quantum Ranger Eric, and became Eric's personal Zord. The Q-Rex, like the Dragonzord, may be operated remotely by speaking verbal instructions to the Quantum Morpher, but it does not have a cockpit. It is fueled by Trizerium crystals, a futuristic mineral made from what is now considered industrial trash. The Q-Rex occasionally becomes frenzied due to the volatile nature of the crystals, which messes up Eric's control over the Zord. The Zord, colloquially known as Q-Rex, is by far the most deadly Zord included in the Time Force series, and it is similar to a more sophisticated version of Tommy's Dragonzord. Although being unpredictable and difficult to handle, the Q-Rex was capable of destroying the Time Force and Time Shadow Megazords before Eric took possession. The Q-Rex has 2 modes. Its first version is the classic T-Rex configuration, which comes with twin lasers mounted on its back. While not as strong as the Megazord form, we like it since it's always interesting to watch a single Zord holding its own. The Q Megazord Rex's form turns it into one of the franchise's most powerful Zords, granting it access to destructive attacks like his missile launcher Thunderfish strikes. The twin laser guns on its rear have been substituted by cryo cannons, letting it quickly freeze and slay nasty mutant beasts. It may also use its left hand to launch the Q-Rex Thunder Fist Assault, which is identical to the Astro Delta Megazord Strike. The Q-Rex Missile Gauntlet, which is positioned on its right hand, is its second weapon. Dino Megazord, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. A Power Rangers Zord list would be incomplete without the inclusion of the Dino Megazord. The Dino Megazord, the first Zord operated by the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, is intertwined with Megazords and is by far the most famous in the series. The Megazord, also known as the Mighty Morphin Megazord or the Dino Megazord, is a hybrid of 5 Dinozords: Pterodactyl, Saber-toothed Tiger, Mastodon, Triceratops, and Tyrannosaurus. This is the very first Megazord to appear in Power Rangers. However, it is possible that other Zord combinations predated it in the series timeline. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers were given the Dinozord's power as part of their first power set. Throughout their confrontation against Rita Repulsa, all the Dinozords will be called to the Ranger's defense at any time she grows her monsters, frequently destroying them in their combined Megazord form. As the Titanus and Dragonzord joined the Rangers' ranks, new forms for all the Dinozords were made possible, including the Ultrazord and the Mega Dragonzord. As Lord Zedd came to take over the conquest of Earth from Rita, his creature Parantis Head took possession of the Dinozords and severely destroyed them. Zordon would later transform the Dinozords into the more powerful Thunderzords as a result of this event. Rito Revolto utterly annihilated the dinosaurs in their enhanced Thunderzord forms. Nearly 25 years after being destroyed by Rito Revolto in their Thunderzord forms, all the dinosaurs were entirely repaired and reconstructed to their former forms in preparation for Goldar's return. The Megazord was weakened by the Chimerazord before banding together with its other Zords in order to obliterate it once and for all. It was then probably stored for the conceivable future. The Dino Megazord had a long-lasting influence on the franchise and pioneered the usage of devastating finishing techniques, the Power Sword. Although the Dragonzord beat the Dino Megazord in a fight, the Megazord destroyed more of Rita's beasts and was reconstructed into the more formidable Thunderzord. Isis Megazord, Power Rangers Wild Force. It might be argued that Animus should be included here rather than the Isis Megazord because he is a Megazord deity, but we opted not to because he is a sentient creature and was never flown by any of the Wild Force Rangers. With all that in consideration, we chose the Isis Megazord, the second strongest Zord to emerge in Wild Force. The Isis Megazord is the Wild Force Rangers' fourth and also most formidable Megazord. When the consciousness of Taylor, Danny, Alyssa, and Max were accidentally captured in another realm by the revived General Organizor, who was killed by Merrick after forming Quadra Org, and the Isis Megazord was introduced. At the time, a young kid who called himself Kite, but was subsequently discovered to be Animus, challenged the quartet to solve a shattered puzzle lest they were all forever lost in a lava lake. The four Rangers had tackled the puzzle at their last second, giving Cole the strength of the Falcon Summoner along with the Battleizer avatar called the Animarian Armor. Cole awakened the brand new Falconzord with the Falcon Summoner along with the Animal Crystal, firing a burst of light power forward towards a mountain on the Animarium. The volcanic mountain erupted as the Falconzord erupted from the flames, joining the Armadillo, Rhino, Deer, and Giraffe to create the Isis Megazord. Along with the Deer and Giraffe acting as its right and left arms respectively, the Rhino as its waist and legs, and the Armadillo as its right foot, the Isis Megazord is definitely one of the franchise's most powerful and flexible Zords. Because of its two wings, it can fly independently and rapidly traverse the battlefield, getting the jump on adversaries with devastating spear assaults. The most powerful element of this Zord, nevertheless, is the Isis Stare, which fires light beams from its wings' eyes. Rather than just doing damage, these beams immobilize their opponent, leaving them vulnerable to a devastating finishing blow.
Now crush him! Crush him!
Serpentera, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. In almost all of the cases, the monsters just grow themselves to fight the Rangers. Sometimes though, the baddies decide to steal a leaf from the Rangers playbook and get their own Zord. Whenever they do, the consequences are disastrous. Serpentera's sheer size itself would render it a frightening opponent. This massive machine of devastation, which resembles a giant dragon, significantly dwarfed the Zords operated by the Power Rangers and could surely squash them like bugs if it so desired. Serpentera was a massive Zord that served as Lord Zedd's personal Zord and became one of the largest Zords in the history of Power Rangers. Due to the lack of official documents, there was substantial controversy about Serpentera's beginnings. Some said it was a relic from the earlier fight with Zordon 10,000 years ago. Another common belief was that Zedd created it himself to contend with the Rangers. This notion was confirmed by a brief scene with Serpentera initially arrived in Angel Grove and ran out of power. Then Zedd shouted, "Serpentera, out of power again? Impossible. The thing is brand new." That may, however, have been alluding to the fact that this was the first time that he had used Serpentera. Only Serpentera's sheer firepower surpasses its size. Lord Zedd's own war machine is able to deploy catastrophic energy blasts designed to destroy a planet. It's like a mobile Death Star in the shape of a dragon. Of course, it, just like the Death Star, has a fatal weakness. Specifically, it drains just too much energy, and it constantly drains power before Zedd can finish off his enemies. Sometime after its demolition, Tommy Oliver displayed Serpentera to the young Dino Thunder Rangers while explaining the transfer of power in Zedd's menace. Jason contrasted Evox's huge Chimera Zord to Serpentera, noting that Evox's Zord was far worse than Serpentera since it had several heads. Samurai Shark Gigazord, Power Rangers Super Samurai. Shark Zord is the third shark-themed Zord of the Red Samurai Rangers. The Samurai Shark Megazord can be formed by combining it with the Samurai Megazord. Whenever the Shark Attack Disc is put in the Spin Sword, the bearer enters the Shark Attack mode and is capable of summoning the Zord itself. The Shark Sword is in command of it. Antonio used the Light Zord to unlock the Shark Zord. It is a hybrid of the Samurai Megazord and the Shark Zord. Shark Zord's head becomes the helmet, while the remainder of it turns into the sword. A kaleidoscope of Ranger colors is also added to the inside of the Megazord cabin on the back wall right behind Jaden. The Shark Zord Slash was its finisher. It was developed to bring General Gut and Ice-Scar to their demise. The Samurai Shark Gigazord is the result of the final combining of all 12 Zords and the real form of the Samurai Gigazord. The Shark Zord is wielded by the Samurai Gigazord in this form. The Shark Zord's finishing attack, on the other hand, summons the symbolic power of all the Zords, electrifying it to execute the ultimate Samurai Slash. In Stroke of Fate, the configuration is only utilized once in Cerritor's final fight.
Order!
Storm Megazord, Power Rangers Ninja Storm. The Storm Megazord is the Wild Rangers Megazord in Power Rangers Ninja Storm. Storm Ninjazords join forces to become the Storm Megazord. The Storm Megazord stands 100 feet tall and has the ability to call power spheres out of its chest for use in combat. It can also use the Blizzard Fury, which uses the ripcord on top of the lion's head to release a disastrous ice and snow wave, and the Dolphin Blast, which uses the ripcord upon the dolphin to release a massive wave of blue energy from all around the dolphin's neck, as well as the Dolphin Laser, which has blue laser beams come from the dolphin's eyes and is powerful enough to push back the original Dragonzord with just 3 blasts. Later, the Storm Megazord was obliterated in a detonation that also demolished the Ultrazord. The Megazord possesses a number of finishers owing to the power spheres, in which it conjures the Serpentsword and afterward divides it into 3 parts of its own, one for each ranger. With perhaps the exclusion of Mad Magnet, who tumbled over backward and detonated. They could then fully charge the blade tip using the yellow energy and cut downwards, converting the adversary to energy that would subsequently disintegrate. The Storm Megazord is far more than its eye-catching look, but it excels at that as well. The Megazord is made up of 3 Ninja Storm Zords, and it also could summon them in a variety of methods. R.P.M. Ultrazord, Power Rangers R.P.M. Whenever the Zord reorganizes from its standard configuration, the Paleomax is produced. The T-Rex and Triceratops vehicles function as the left and right legs, while the Mammoth car acts as the head, arms, and torso. The Paleomax is highly strong, with the ability to blow adversaries away with a rush of air out of the Mammoth's car snout on its chest. The Megazord's finisher includes churning the gears on its own arms, spewing mist from the Mammoth's nostrils, and executing a crimson energy karate chop. Dr. K created the Paleozord at Alphabet Soup, and it was one of the first creations alongside Vengix. Because it was modeled on extinct species, the individual Zord attack vehicles that compromised it could not properly sync up with the biofield, but were never meant to see the face of dawn alongside the similarly uncontrolled Turbo Falcon Zord. It ran wild after being awakened in Corinne Sulfrid's mountain range, causing Dr. K to reconfigure while on the road, and as Colonel Mason Truman learns this, he permits her to complete the alterations, permitting Scott to command it. The Vengix virus, however, wiped it out, as well as the Mac Megazord, Gemma, and Jim, albeit Gemma and Jim were restored back to Dr. K, as well as their very own Zords. It's unclear whether the Paleozord or Whale Jumbo Jet were also brought back. Dr. K subsequently builds and implants a more recent biorhythmic stabilizer in the Paleozord, which contains receptors along with a cellular microprocessor. The first vehicle may spew steam from its snout, or use a deep freeze to halt adversaries in their stride. The very last 2 vehicles can disconnect and swing around to knock foes down.
Meet the Brachiozord. Retrieving the black gem must have awakened her.
Brachiozord, Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Tommy Oliver pilots Brachiozord, a black Brachiosaurus Zord that can fire bolts of lightning from its jaws. It is capable of transporting the rest of the Dinozords into combat. Its head may be removed and equipped by the Thundersaurus Megazord in the toy version. The Brachiozord is the sole Zord that does not participate in Megazord transformations. Fans speculate that the Brachiozord is a recycled Titanus. They appear to be close. If not reused, we suspect the Brachiozord was influenced. It's notably apparent in the neck, as well as the fact that they're both carriers. The body design as well as leg movement are different, however. This might be due to limitations during the time. According to another popular fan theory, when Kat steals the power coin owned by Kimberly, Zordon meets Tommy and tells him all about the Dino Gems. He comes up with a contingency plan using all of the remaining power coins, which were yellow, red, blue, white, and black, as well as the blue Dinozord prints. Because Saber-Toothed Tiger and Master Dinosaurs, they just merged the abilities of the Triceratops Pterodactyl, which isn't a dinosaur technically, and the T-Rex Dragonzord, and Titanus to generate a brand new set of abilities in case they were ever required to locate the Dino Gems. Ninja Megazord, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Do you know what the coolest thing is? Robots that are massive. Do you know what else is amazing? Ninjas. So theoretically, merging those 2 factors would produce the most fantastic thing ever, and you'd largely be true. While the Shogun Megazord was as sluggish and robust as an iceberg, the Ninja Megazord was as rapid and lethal as a lightning bolt. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers employed the Ninja Megazord as their 3rd Megazord configuration, replacing the Thunderzords that Rita's brother Rito destroyed. The loss of the Thunderzords compelled the Rangers to search out Ninjor, the creator responsible for the initial set of Zords and power coins. The Rangers lost track of all the Ninjazords when Master Vile managed to send them back in time. Tommy remembers Ninjor returning to his shrine, but the Zords have vanished. It is plausible that the Ninjazords were employed in the building of new Zords according to an offhand claim by Billy in the Zeo period. However, it is also likely that he was referencing to the original Zeo Zords. The Ninja Megazord was created by combining 5 Ninjazords. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 3 made use of it. The Ninja Megazord was created by combining the Ninjazords of the ape, crane, frog, wolf, and bear. The legs were produced by the black frog, which was joined to the body by the yellow bear. Its most significant attribute was its agility. It was far more nimble than earlier Megazords, but it couldn't grasp anything because it lacked fingers. The White Falcon could optionally attach to the rear of the Megazord, providing it with flying capabilities. This combination was known to be the Ninja Mega Falcon Zord. To finish off the opponent, the Ninja Megazord would pull back and unleash powerful energy blows with the Ape Zord and Wolf fists, which shrieked with replicas of their animal heads. This was dubbed the Power Punch in the part A Ranger Catastrophe Part 2. Wild Force Megazord, Power Rangers Wild Force. The Wild Force Megazord is the result of combining the Wild Zords. Whenever the Rangers needed to combat the barbed wire org, they used the Wild Force Megazord. The Rangers lifted their crystal sabers towards the sky and said, "Wild Zords down," as the Wild Zords dashed off the energy strip out from the animarium towards the earth below. The Rangers then cried, "Wild Zords combine," as they formed a star formation with their crystal sabers in the middle. Upon doing this, the bison would raise a lid chamber, which is really its quadruped torso, and the lion would transform into the main torso, with the white tiger and shark Wild Zords serving as arms. The eagle would sit on the head of the Lion Zord, and all of the 4 Zords would be contained within the bison's open chest. As the Rangers sprang into the lion's cockpit, they would insert their crystal sabers inside terminals of the same shape. The Wild Force Megazord debuted in Power Rangers Wild Force, and became one of the list's most adaptable Megazords. The Wild Force Megazord, like the different animals from which it was made, was a savage and primeval guardian of nature. Throughout its reign, it defeated a slew of nasty beasts. However, raw power will only get you so far, and when you're fighting giant creatures bent on destroying the world, you need to be able to adapt, something the Wild Force Megazord is more than capable of. When needed, the Wild Force Rangers may summon the Elephant Zord, which can transform into a sword and shield. The blade may also transform into a potent energy whip, enabling the Rangers to trap their opponents. While the Elephant Zord's sword and shield modes were the most often employed in this Zord's inventory, they were far from the only ones. In order to deal with the ever-changing battle against evil, the Wild Force Megazord could convert into various distinct alternate modes. In the face of colossal enemies, the Power Rangers seem to have no option but to summon their similarly colossal Zords. The Power Rangers have protected the Earth time and time again, more than anyone can count, by defeating monster after monster. It's tricky since they can never predict when Lord Zed or Rita Repulsa may send down a new terrifying beast to conquer the world. It's a nasty and dangerous job, but someone has to do it. Despite being teens with attitude, the Power Rangers have repeatedly proved that they are more than prepared for the position of Earth's defenders. Armed with extraordinary weaponry and inspired by an unrivaled sense of friendship and collaboration, the Power Rangers seldom face a situation they can't overcome. When the going gets rough, the Power Rangers must toughen up. Rita grows bored of watching her creatures struggle against the Rangers, and so a power blaster with all its frills and fancies isn't always enough. When this happens, the monsters expand to the height of towers. With no other choice, the Power Rangers call their similarly massive Zords to fuse into the giant Megazord robot. Throughout their extended tenure in the limelight, the Rangers used a diverse array of Zords of all forms, colors, and types, and hence, ranking the Zords perfectly is not just difficult, but an impossible feat. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe.